This week, Jess tells us stories of Wampas and Tauntauns as she visits the ice caves in Michigan. Dan is starry-eyed by her stories, and did Jess's Jeep explode? All this and more on this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. I had nothing to say. Welcome to this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. We are good for your ears. I'm Dan, and you can find me at RFSDan.
And I'm Jess, and you can find me at Gone to the Snow Dogs and Snow Dogs Vlogs.
So Jess, I have a question for you, and work with me here. Why, at this point in your life, do you even have like a home address? Your dot is all over the map. You're like a vagabond.
Well, I have to have some place to call home, I guess? I don't know. I have no idea.
Holy cow, you're always on the go. Everywhere you go looks beautiful. It's all the same, but it looks beautiful. So, which direction was it this time?
North and then west. We pretty much went straight north until we couldn't drive any further because there's water, and then we went west a little bit.
Okay. Did you stayed in Michigan?
Yeah, we were still in Michigan.
I guess I didn't ask you, like, these are, like, pertinent questions I probably should have asked my friend before you went on the trip of, like, how far are you going again?
It wasn't that far. It's about 4 hours away from home, so it's really not that far.
That's nothing for you.
No, not at all.
What does 4 hours get me? 4 hours gets me to Vegas. 4 hours gets me halfway up the coast. Not too bad. 4 hours will get me to TJ. Been there before. Oh my gosh, that's a podcast for another day, guys. And let me forget this time that I was like 22 years old and I went to TJ for my first and last time. There is no donkey show. So where were you off to?
We went up to Munising, Michigan, which is kind of funny that you say it all looks the same, but it all looks beautiful. I can't tell you how many times we've gone there and filmed it and vlogged it over the past however many years we've been vlogging. 9 years, I think, something like that. 8 years, I don't know. I can't tell you how many times we've been there and saw those same places, but every time we go, it's like seeing it for the first time. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because the ice forms differently, or sometimes the trees fall down, and I don't know.
Well,
but every time I'm excited.
I saw the pictures and I get it.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. And I don't know. We went to Munising, Michigan, and we did we went to Pictured Rocks, and well, we didn't actually go all the way into Pictured Rocks because you have to have a snowmobile to do that. And even though we have a snowmobile,
yes,
the dogs can't fit on it.
Oh, right.
I know.
Well, get them their own.
Right. They could just run behind us with their own sled. Pull
I know,
the
right?
gear.
Yeah, they just pull the snowmobile from the front. Isn't that what they're for?
I mean, they probably could. Don't think that would be a great idea, but they probably could. No, we went up to Munising, Michigan, and like I said, we've been there many, many, many times before. Because Jamie was gone to Canada for Valentine's Day, we decided to do our destination vacation after he got back. And I wanted to go up north. We have snow here, but we don't have nearly as much snow as they have up there. Holy cow. The snowbanks where they plowed the snow from the road were taller than my Jeep in most places. Like, it was crazy how much snow they had. It was nuts. And we didn't even go where they have the most snow. We almost drove to Houghton, which would have been like... Oh, we went to Marquette the one day, so Houghton was about 100 miles away from Marquette if we would have kept driving. They had I think they've had 20 feet of snow already this year.
Holy cow. How many, just for reference, how many feet of snow do you estimate that you had since I've been there last?
Since you've been here last, I don't think that many. Maybe 5 or 6 feet. Okay. I don't think we've had that much. I could look it up and find out how much snow we've actually had, how much snowfall Alpena County has had this season. But I don't actually know.
But it's not going to be 20 feet.
It is not going to be 20 feet.
So
let me look it up.
Is this place that you're at, while you're looking it up, is this place that you're at like a city, or is it more like towns, like a town where there's a mile in between each house? Is there a Starbucks and a McDonald's there?
There's a Hardee's. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, that's like a discount Carl's Jr. It's like a Carl's Jr. without Western bacon cheeseburgers, which is the only reason to go to Carl's.
Yeah, so that's what they have. They have a Subway.
Okay.
They have a Subway.
So does your town.
Yeah. They have a Subway and they have a Hardee's. But other than that, it's a lot of small local restaurants, really small local restaurants. Munising is a tiny little town. It is not a big city. They don't have a Walmart. They have a grocery store. I think it's a family fair. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a really, really, like, I don't know how to explain it. Tiny grocery store.
Okay. Is it a chain place?
It is a chain place, but it's it's like an IGA. I don't know if you know what that is either.
Nope. Nope.
Very small chain place.
Interesting. So it's just a little tiny community then with less people than Alpena?
I believe, yeah, Munising has far less people than Alpena. Munising is a really big tourist town because it's basically the home to Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore, which is a national park, like one of the big national parks. So it's basically people come to Munising, Michigan to do the Pictured Rocks tours, or they get on the boats and they do like sunken ship wreck boat tours, and then they get on this Pictured Rocks boat tour that takes like 3 hours, and it goes all along the coast of Pictured Rocks, and you get to see all the pretty rocks and the rock formations and Chapel Rock, and you can go hiking for days out there, backpacking, and you can actually like backpack in the woods and then camp out there at not a campsite. You just go in the woods, you can get permits and do all this stuff, and it's a absolutely gorgeous area. Grand Island is up there as well. You can go over there. So it's huge for tourist attractions, but the town itself is there's nothing there.
You're so country mouse. You're like, then you can go look at the rocks on a boat, and then you can go look at the rocks standing on a moat, then you can go ride a float and look at the rocks too. It's like, Is it all just for looking at rocks?
Yeah, pretty much. The population, are you ready for this? The population of Munising, Michigan is 2,200 people.
Holy cow. Like that's, the whole population of your town is like 5% of your user base. Like that is a tiny town.
It's tiny. But the crazy thing is for it being such a tiny town, like I was saying, they have a little grocery store, they have a Hardee's, they have a Subway. They have probably more motels than anything else. Motels and hotels than anything else.
Because of everybody's there for tourist stuff.
Because everybody's there for tourist stuff. So there's some there's some huge hotels and motels there. We stayed at the Holiday Inn Express, which was actually the first time we ever stayed there in Munising. We usually stay at Lake Superior Inn or the Econo Lodge. Their Econo Lodge is huge. It's actually really nice for an Econo Lodge. But we ended up staying at the Holiday Inn Express this time around, and it was very nice. And we had a view over the bay, and we could see Pictured Rocks, and we could see all the ice in the bay and all the fishermen out there, and we could see Grand Island. So it was really neat. We chose to spend the extra $20 to have a room with a view, and it was totally worth it.
Yeah, I can't believe that was debatable. You're like, should I get the room with the view? You're like, well, yeah, you and everybody else at home listening, waiting for a room of, waiting for an out the window picture says yes.
Right. Yeah. I was really glad that we did decide to do that. It was nice. We stayed up there. We left Saturday and we came home today. Today's Tuesday, so we stayed a couple nights.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know how we managed to get the best weather we have had in the past 3 to 4 months. It didn't snow, which was nice because, when it snows, it kind of can complicate things.
Right.
It wasn't cloudy at all. It was so sunny. It was unreal. Like, I didn't remember that's what the sun looked like because we haven't seen it in forever. It was, I'm not kidding. It was 48 degrees, which may sound cold, but when it's been like, 10 and 15 and windy, it was crazy. Like, we went up there prepared to be cold, and there were times where I took my coat off. I'm like, I can't hike back here with the coat on. Like, I'm overdressed for this.
And some of these pictures were amazing. I'm not sure how much you shared with just me versus the public.
Right.
But every single picture I think I said was my favorite picture, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did. I posted on the Snow Dogs Vlogs Instagram. There's actually my dog's yelling.
Which one's that? Well, that's not Memphis, obviously.
Okay, she's yelling at her ball. Sorry. I couldn't tell. It was a weird cry. I'm like, what is that a cry?
I could hear it.
Actually yelling.
I don't know if the podcast can pick it up or not, but I could definitely hear it on my end.
Well, you might have to edit that out.
No, if we could hear it on the podcast, that's staying.
Right?
That's production value. That was 20 seconds that I didn't have to talk, and neither did you.
On the Snow Dogs Vlogs Instagram, there's actually a highlight that I saved from the trip. So a lot of the pictures that I shared with you guys, I posted on my Instagram stories and then saved it as a highlight so people could go back and watch it. So I shared quite a few pictures. I didn't share all of them, but I shared quite a few pictures on my Instagram stories.
Yeah, they're beautiful. It looked awesome there. Is this the place that you and I would talk about you wanting to go for a while, but like you had Oakley and like you couldn't get the dogs back there to like the waterfalls and stuff like that? Is it that the same area?
Yeah, it's kind of the same area. There's a lot of waterfalls up there. The problem, like when we had Oakley and she got a little bit older and we wanted to go in the wintertime, was it's slippery. Like, it's treacherous. You're walking on a path that everybody else has walked on, so now you're walking on ice, and it is dangerous. You know, even with the dogs, I almost cut the dogs' nails right before we left, and Jamie goes, "Don't cut their nails. They need that for traction." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're probably right. I'll wait till we get back before I do that."
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, and it was slippery. There was quite a few places where we went where we have these, like, they're not called ice cleats. They're called, the ones we have are called yak tracks. And basically what it is you slip them over your shoes and they put like these metal things on the bottom of your shoes so that when you walk on the ice, the metal kind of grips into the snow and ice and makes it so you don't slip.
Yeah, you showed me that. That thing looked rad. It was like a bunch of like spikes on the bottom of your foot. I'm like, wow, like, do you go around kicking stuff? Because I would just be kicking stuff all the time. I'm like, give me an unopened can of pop. I'm gonna step on it.
No, I did not. The first day we were there, I wore mine and Jamie didn't wear his. And I kept telling him, I'm like, these are amazing. I'm like, I could not have made it up and down these hills. I'd have been falling. And then the next day he finally put his on and he was like, why have we not wore these every time we've ever gone outside in the snow? I'm like, I don't know, but these are my new favorite thing. Like, you didn't want to be overly confident because you never want to be overly confident when walking on ice and snow because the minute you think you've got your balance, that's when you're going to fall and break your leg or your hip or your wrist or whatever.
Right.
So you don't want to be overly confident, but I think it gave me the ability to not panic as much when I was going up and down hills.
Yeah,
like,
you have like Wolverine on the bottom of your feet. I would be wearing these things all year long. I don't care if it's snowing or not. I'm gonna sound like a cowboy that's got spurs on all the time, just kind of clanking around.
You don't really want to do that though, because the minute you touch ground that doesn't have snow on it, like cement, they're very slippery.
Okay. Well, RIP to whoever I slip into because those things look super, super cool. I stared at that picture for a while. You're like, check this out. I'm like, how come you never let me put those on when I was out there? Like, what's going on? I could have been wearing those on Halloween.
Yeah, you could have. They were really cool. And the one day we were out there and we were doing a lot of the stuff around the Munising area because we went a couple different places each day, but we were right around Munising and we decided to drive out to Sandpoint, which many years ago, Jamie and I walked across Lake Superior at Sandpoint. It's just a little over a mile. We walked across the lake to the Grand Island Ice Caves. And it was about this time of the year, and I could not believe as we were standing at Sandpoint looking over there that it was just all open water. And I looked at Jamie and I'm like, we walked across this. We walked across this. And he's like, yep, and you haven't been able to do it since we did it. And I'm like, God, it's so mind-blowing. Like, the change. It only happens every couple of years where it actually gets cold enough to freeze Munising Bay out far enough to be able to walk there.
That's so
anyway,
cool.
It was so crazy. I was staring at the ice caves going, I was over there, and it was so cool, and I wanted to go over there again, but of course we couldn't. So as we were driving out, I was noticing a lot of people wearing their ice climbing gear. And I'm like, why are all these people back here with ice climbing gear? They should be closer to the waterfalls. And there was a car parked on the side of the road, and we looked over to the side, and there was a sign that said ice curtains, and there was a path that kind of just went up into the woods. And I looked at Jamie and I went, they're climbing the ice back there. There's got to be ice caves back there. And I had no idea. We've been up there so many times. We've gone to like the Eben Ice Caves, which is a little bit away from Munising, but I had no idea that there were ice caves right there in Munising. So there was no way we were going to get the dogs up there. And I told Jamie, I'm like, he's like, I can see them. They're right there. They're not that far in the woods. And I'm like, well, let me out and you just drive up and down this road because it was an area where you couldn't park. I'm like, and I'll just go up in there. Yeah, that was, I'm really glad I had ice cleats on because that was scary.
He really let you off the leash?
Yeah, and like he sat at the bottom of the road till he couldn't see me anymore, and like he had the window down, and I kept telling him, I'm like, it's okay, I'm not gonna go if I don't feel safe, I'm not going. Right as I almost got to the top, there was this spot where I could tell somebody stepped, and then they stepped off the path, And I'm looking going, if I step off this path, I'm falling down this hill. Like, there's nothing I can grab onto. So I was like calculating where I was going to step. And then I started saying, you're not in a hurry. You're not in a hurry. He's not waiting for you. You're okay. Just think about where your feet are going. And I like convinced myself that I could make this step. And it was not that big of a step. But in my mind, I was going to fall down that hill.
Yeah, you sent me a video from in there, and I was a little scared. It kind of reminded me of a cave that looked like something out of Empire Strikes Back when Luke was hanging upside down with that Wampa. I was like, you better hope that Wampa doesn't come out and get you.
That's pretty much exactly what it looks like. Yeah, I made that last step, and I was able to get up where I got the really good pictures of the ice caves. I wanted to go further so bad. There was a big tree that was down that people had gone over and gotten to another section of the ice caves, but it was just too, I'm like, that's just not, I'm by myself. I don't want to fall. I'm like, I probably shouldn't do it. And I went, I got my pictures and I got a little bit of video and I went back down and I told Jamie, I'm like, you should go up there. And he's like, no, I can see it from here. I'm like, man, you should go up there. It's so cool. And even the next morning, I'm like, man, I want to go back up there and get like a few more shots and a few more angles. And he's like, you're not going back up there. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You could have made it back further if you guys would have rented some Tauntauns. Like, you could have just hopped on those things and, if it got cold, you could just hide inside of them real quick.
Yeah, we definitely could have. We really could have. There is a spot we go. It's at Munising Falls. And there has been a lot of people will remember me sliding on my butt down the steps and hitting the railing and ending up getting a very large bruise. Because I don't know if you remember that vlog. Yeah, so that happened. I had those ice cleats on, and I wanted to get the shot from the top of the steps. And Jamie goes, he's like, you're not sliding down that. He's like, that's not happening. I'm like, no, I got these ice cleats. I can walk back down this. And I went up there and I got the photos that I wanted, and then I did walk back down. I didn't have to sit down and slide back down, but there were other people that were there that were going to slide down, and I'm like, you don't want to do that. I've been there. It's not safe.
Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't see in any of the photos until you say it now, is I didn't see anybody else there.
We went on Saturday. We got up there. Sunday was the day we started adventuring. There was not a lot of people because most people are weekend warriors. So they come up for the weekend and they leave. So you don't run into as many people during your adventures. So there's just not as many people during the week.
That makes sense.
I said, nobody lives there. The hotel, when we left today, the hotel was empty. There was like maybe 6 cars in the parking lot.
Wow. That isn't a lot at all.
Yeah, compared to, I think the first night I sent you guys that video of all the snow machines. Mm-hmm. There was 2 of them parked there last night.
Dang. So you really had the place to yourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you go during the right time, there's not a whole lot of people up there.
Right.
Plus, Ice Fest was in Munising last weekend. The weekend that Jamie was gone, they had Ice Fest. And that's when, like, everybody comes to that town. And ice climbers from all over the world come. And they climb these ice caves and they climb these waterfalls and they go out to Pictured Rocks and they climb the ice formations at Pictured Rocks, and it brings people in from everywhere. We went the weekend after, so we went the weekend after everybody came up.
Okay, yeah. So everybody's back to work and back to real life and stuff. But I'll say something. Every time I've been out there to see you or hang out, it feels like nobody's ever there anyway. But that's because I come from a town, like even my town's got like 200,000 people in it, and I'm on the outskirts of LA. Like it's not a big town, so for me, like everything seems empty there. Remember how many times I talked about how there was no lines anywhere?
Yeah. Yeah, there's only, 10 or 11,000 people in Alpena city limits, and I think in the whole county, I think there's 20,000 people in the whole county.
Holy cow, no wonder you know everybody.
Yeah, we don't have that many people here.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice that there wasn't a whole lot of people, and it was nice that there wasn't, it wasn't all crazy. Yeah, and I mean the first day we did a couple waterfalls. We went to Wagner Falls, which is a really easy hike, but they didn't plow out the parking lot like they usually do. So we did the debate. We drove by it like 3 times. Like, do we just park on the side of the road? Is there a wide enough spot? We got to make sure it's okay to get the dogs out. The whole time, like no cars are going by. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Let's just get out of the car. And that was the one where I sent the pictures where the dogs were walking across like that bridge and the snow is to the top of the railing.
Yes, that was tall. That was tall.
That's a really cool area. And it's like a 1/4 mile hike to get back in there, so it's really super easy. So
that's not bad.
We did, what did we do? Wagner Falls, Munising Falls. We did Laughing Whitefish Falls. I don't even remember all the places we went. We went to
I
a
love
lot
the
of places.
names. Laughing Whitefish. Okay. All right. I know what you were on when you saw the Laughing Whitefish, but okay. Sounds good to me. My favorite part was all these waterfalls that you kept sending me pictures of, and they were frozen in different states of freeze.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know how to conjugate that. They're frozen in different states of freeze.
Right.
But
ice.
it looked really cool. Like I've never seen anything like that before with my eyes.
Yeah, so Munising Falls was fairly frozen solid on the outside. Of course, the water's still running in the middle.
That's the one that tripped me out the bed. That blew my mind. I watched that clip over and over and over and over again, and I was just so amazed on how it looked like running water on the inside of this ice dome thing.
Oh, that was Scott Falls.
Is that what that was? We could see inside the ice.
Yes.
It looked like the faucet coming down, but the outside's frozen, but the inside was just like
Yes.
running. I'm like, where's it going?
So that's a roadside waterfall. You pretty much drive right past it, can see it from the road. And a lot of the times, we'll be driving by it and we do the debate. Do we get out? Do we actually go over there? We don't usually take the dogs because you have to cross the main highway to get to it. And it can be a little scary, and it's a kind of a downhill. So we drove past it. And as we drove past it, we actually did that one yesterday on our way back from Marquette. We drove past it, and Jamie and I both said the same thing. We're like, oh my gosh, we have to go back, because the sun was hitting it so perfect that you could see the water inside the ice. And I'm like, nope, we got to go back. So I ended up, again, he stayed in the car. He could actually see me from the car during that one, though. He stayed in the car, and we left the dogs in the car. And I went over there and I got footage. I got so much footage of that on my phone, on the GoPro, on the vlog camera. I'm really excited to see how much of that turned out like I wanted it to. But for that waterfall being like maybe 13 or 14 feet high, I don't know why, it is one of my favorite little waterfalls up there.
It was so rad looking.
It's so cool. And you can go completely behind it. So like I walked completely behind it. The ice is frozen. There's little mini ice caves, little mini ice caves in the back of it. It's such a cool waterfall. And the sound, I don't think any of my cameras can pick up the sound like it sounded in real life. It was so cool. It sounded hollow, but there was like this watery echo inside of it. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was amazing. I could have just sat there and listened to the water.
Yeah, like I said, I'll watch that vlog. I will tune in. I will tune in to watch that one because I want to see more of that waterfall.
Right. And you guys that are listening, you're getting like all the behind the scenes stuff because those vlogs haven't even started going up yet.
When will they hit? Will they hit at the end of the week?
Tomorrow will be, as long as I get it edited and uploaded, tomorrow will be the day we leave to go up there vlog.
Okay.
So
You say tomorrow in real time because today's Tuesday, or are you saying tomorrow
it'll
Thursday?
be Wednesday.
Okay, so
Wednesday.
it'll be the same day that you guys hear this.
Yeah, so youtube.com/snowdogsvlogs. Shout out.
Oh man, it was so cool. And then today you sent me my favorite of all the photos in some cave, and it was like different colors in there. It wasn't even just like white.
I don't even know what I sent you today.
It was like
I don't know which photos I sent of which, because I sent some today that were actually taken yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there were some beautiful ones that it had really good color in them, and it was in a cave. Like you were like in a cave.
I think that was Scott Falls when I was behind Scott Falls, because it's like, it kind of you can walk all the way behind it, but it's like kind of like you said, it looks like a cave behind it, and there's a bunch of little like mini little ice caves. I guess they're not really ice caves; they're just ice formations on the wall.
I'm scrolling through my photos now to see. I just see a bunch of the dogs on the bed.
Right? Yeah.
How did they do?
They did so good. Like, they did so good. Kira did so good. They did great with the people. They did great at the hotel. Kira's only stayed at a hotel a handful of times, and she did amazing. Man, she caught on to that routine so quick. The hotel we stayed at, I'm going to give them a shout out. It was the Holiday Inn Express in Munising. And if you are ever in Munising and you have dogs, oh my gosh, stay there. Not only do they like give you a little doggy treat bag with little poop bags in it as well, every time my dogs came in from outside, they wanted to give the dogs a treat. So the dogs like would jump up on the counter and they would give them a treat, and it was the cutest darn thing. So after a while, they kind of like figured it out that this was what was happening. And then the other really cool thing was I was talking to another guy who had this gorgeous Rottweiler that Memphis was playing with. They came up there to go snowmobiling, and they didn't want to board their dog, blah, 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 blah. They called ahead to the hotel and they're like, are we allowed to leave our dogs in the room? I've never been to a hotel where they said yes. You can leave your dog in the room there and go out and adventure, and the hotel staff will check on your dog throughout the day.
What?
They will even take your dog outside to go to the bathroom if you want them to.
Holy cow.
I have never stayed at a hotel that has allowed that. Most hotels are like, don't leave your dogs alone in the room. Make sure that you take them with you because they don't want them barking and doing, some dogs get really freaked out. No, these people, I even asked afterwards at the desk, I'm like, are we really allowed to leave our dogs in the room if we go somewhere? And they're like, yeah, just let us know. That way, if they start making noise, we can go in there with them and calm them down, take them outside if they need to. And I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. Now, I don't think all Holiday Inn Expresses are like that. I think this is just this manager of this Holiday Inn chooses to run the Holiday Inn like that. But oh my gosh, how crazy cool was that? And Kira, man, every time we came back inside, she jumped up on that little mini counter, waited for her treat, and they knew who we were real quick because we had the pretty dogs, and that's what they kept saying.
Aw, did you get treats too? Like if I went with you guys, could I use the baggies? Do I get the treats?
I mean, you could.
Huh.
You could eat them. You could definitely eat them.
Well, what if you left me in the room? Would somebody come check on me?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure we could request it. Will you check on Dan and make sure he's okay in there?
It's so crazy. Like how, like their lawyers can't sign off on that. That sounds like liability for the dogs. Like what? But it's so cool.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, it reminds me of the 80s. Like you can't get away with any of those things in 2020. Like
right?
That is cool.
Oh, that was another thing that I thought was interesting and really reminded me that we were in the middle of nowhere. Nobody up there delivers.
Into what fashion? Like
you
Dean Dash?
Well, no, of course they don't have that. We don't even have that here. Their pizza places don't even deliver.
But it's pizza.
Dude, if you're looking for a job, every single person in Munising, Michigan is hiring because they only have 2,200 people in the town and they don't have enough people to work. They do not have enough people to work in that town. Every single place we went was hiring. Subway was hiring. The pizza place was hiring. The hotel was hiring. They do not have enough people to staff the places they have. So, like, we ordered from this really cool pizza place called Main Street Pizza. If you're ever in Munising, delicious. It was amazing. The staff was amazing. The pizza was delicious. But they can't deliver anymore because they don't have enough employees.
That's so crazy. Where I have the opposite. I have the opposite problem in this town.
Right?
Wow.
I know that the whole time I was up there, I kept thinking that everywhere was hiring. Everywhere. The grocery store was hiring. The gas stations are hiring. Everywhere had a help wanted sign because they just don't. The people that live there are either there because they were born there or they're there because they retired there. So they just don't have enough people to work. And I think that's one of the reasons that Munising hasn't really grown a whole lot, even though it's this giant tourist town. There's not a lot of housing, so there's not a lot of places for people to just move there and bring their families, and there's not a lot of like factories. You're not going to move to Munising, Michigan to start a family.
Okay.
You're going to move there because you retired.
I wanted to go work there, but now it sounds boring as heck.
Oh, I actually think you would have a lot of fun living there. There's a mountain bike. They have so much stuff to do. Like if you're an outdoors person, it's heaven on earth. 100%. You would always have something to do. They have this amazing mountain bike trail. There's so many places to go and things to see. I don't think I'd ever get bored living up there.
It looked beautiful. I sent you that picture back to your phone. The way I can describe that picture I was talking about the cavern, it looks like somebody took the icicles and stuff that are in there and like threw a bunch of like Tidy Bowl on it. Like it's blue and like orange and stuff like that. And it looks really rainbowy. That is my favorite. It kind of looked like the inside of the Fortress of Solitude from Superman.
So that is the Pictured Rocks ice caves. That was a picture that was in the hotel. Those are a hike to get out to. If you're lucky, you can take a snowmobile out there when the ice is frozen the right way, but a lot of times you actually have to hike quite a ways, and you have to ice climb down those big caverns of ice to get behind into those caves.
I'm confused because I'm a visual person, so I'm ice climbing down? How do I...
So these caves, what you're looking at, and we'll post the picture.
But this is a photo.
Picture.
You didn't take this photo?
No, that's a photo that was hanging at the hotel.
Oh, man, I've been hornswoggled and bamboozled.
No, this was not my photo. I think I said that was a photo hanging at the hotel when I sent it.
I don't read. I just look.
I know.
Shut up. Ouch. I just look. Oh, delete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's still beautiful.
I took 2 pictures of it. I took a far back picture, and then I took a picture of a person underneath there so you guys could see the scale of how big it is.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I guess now that I'm looking at it, I can see the frame of the photo.
Yeah. Those are the pictured rocks,
myself.
ice caves. So you have to go like way out pictured rocks, and then you climb down because it's a cliff. So you climb down to get underneath there.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was Jamie.
No, that's not Jamie.
Oh, but it's
I'm not
so
climbing down them.
beautiful. What about these ice curtains? Does that just mean that like the icicles are hanging down, they're not connected to like the back of a mountain, like they just free hang?
No, the ice curtains are named that. That's the name of the ice formation. There was the what was it called? The dryer formation was one I didn't walk up to, so I don't know what that looks like. And then there was the ice curtains formation. And for those of you that have watched our vlogs before and have seen the Eben ice caves, it's very similar to that. What happens is the groundwater, again, rocks. There's rocks all over up there. It's pictured rocks. They say that for a reason. What happens is the groundwater seeps out through the rocks. And in the wintertime, as the groundwater seeps out through the rocks, it freezes.
Okay.
And it continues to seep out. It's like in the wintertime, if you took your hose and turned it on, put it on the roof of your house and turned it on like a drip, but left it on enough so that the water could keep running, it would do the same thing. It would freeze. The water would run and it would freeze and it would get thicker and thicker and thicker and it would form this big pillar of ice. That's how the ice tree is made as well. The water comes out of the top, falls down the sides, and it freezes as it falls, and it forms this great big huge ice tree. This is kind of the same thing, only it's coming out of the ground. It's groundwater that's coming out through the rocks, and the ice is connected at the top of the cliff. But as it comes down, and the cliff kind of coves in behind it, you can kind of get in behind the ice curtains. I guess those ones were called ice curtains. I think they call those ice curtains instead of ice caves because there's not a whole lot of space to actually get behind them.
That's
where,
so
like,
cool.
Where like the ice caves, the ground concaves in such a way that when it freezes, you can actually walk behind them. The Eben ice caves, you can walk completely behind them.
That's so cool. I'd never seen any of this stuff before I met you. Like maybe on TV one time or something, somebody was doing something, or in a movie, but like I didn't know anything about this stuff.
Right? It's crazy. It's a whole nother world.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. It's not even that far away.
Yeah, it's just a couple hours away from us is where it is. I mean, that's pretty much where it is.
That's so cool. So you have no desire to like climb one of these at all?
No, not really. I think Jamie has. We were there in Munising a couple years ago where we went back to one of the waterfalls that they now don't allow dogs to go back to, and it used to be our 2 favorite places to go, and I don't know why they don't allow dogs back there now, but whatever. I would have donated money, but whatever. But years ago, when you could take dogs back there and nobody cared, we actually got to watch some people climbing those waterfalls that looked just like those ice caves. It looked like Munising Falls, which was the great big one that was hanging down. Or Scott Falls, the picture I showed you of Scott Falls, times that by 60 feet. It was about 60 feet high. And people climb up and down these waterfalls with running water in the middle. And they use these great big ice picks, and they have these things that go on their shoes. So they kick their toes into the ice, and there's like claws on the front of their shoes. And then they use these great big ice picks, and they climb up the ice.
You know, that sounds fun. I want to try that. I don't think I've ever like ascended anything higher than like the local playground or whatever. So I don't I've never like just done something like that. But I think I would have fun doing that.
Oh, I'm sure it would be a blast. I don't think I have the arm strength to do it. I think I would have to do a lot of practicing to be able to do that, but it's really neat. Jamie had talked about it before that, he would try it. And during Ice Fest weekend, I believe they actually have people there and gear you can borrow, and they help teach you and show you how to do it. It is very similar to people that climb mountains, that do the the sheer rock mountain climbing, where they're climbing the actual rock face of a mountain. It's very similar to that. You use a lot of the same stuff, the pulleys and the things that wrap around you to make sure you have spotters that are holding your rope, so if you fall, you're not falling straight down. It is very similar to that, only in ice formation.
Right. I don't think you could do it anyway. Your hands don't like the cold.
No, my hands do not like the cold, which was why I was really glad it was so warm this weekend. That made me happy.
That is awesome.
It's crazy. I mean, we spent the full day in Munising and, just went around a whole bunch of places there. And then it's so crazy because like, I feel like we did so much and I can't, like when I stop and think about it, I go, I don't remember where we were on which days and how we got there and what happened. I just remember we were there.
Do you get souvenirs from these places? Because like for me, when it snowed on Thanksgiving Day, like I have a snowball in the fridge still. It's tiny now. It's probably like the size of like not even a golf ball anymore. It was the size of a softball. But like, do you take anything home with you?
Pictures, lots of pictures, lots of pictures. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, I take a lot of pictures and a lot of videos, so I have the memories that I can always go back and look at.
Right, and you'll have your vlogs.
Yeah, and like I said, the days all like go together. I have a hard time believing that we really only spent 2 days there with everything we saw. We spent more than 2 days. We were there Saturday, but Saturday we just kind of got to the hotel, chilled out at the hotel. We drove around town for a little bit. We had our pizza, and then Sunday we did all those, the first set of waterfalls that we did. Ended the day at Laughing Whitefish Falls, which was really. We tried to go to a couple other waterfalls, but the roads weren't plowed, and Google Maps doesn't tell you whether the roads are plowed or not. So
oh yeah, right, okay.
You kind of look, and then I get online when I have service, and I'm like, okay, well, I see snow pictures of these places, so maybe there's a chance. It's only 2 miles. Let's go. So you'll drive the 2 miles to find out that the road isn't plowed. We did do that a few times. Then we decided to go to Laughing Whitefish Falls, which is like an 80-foot waterfall. It's very scary. I took some video of it in September where I like hung the GoPro out over the edge of the waterfall and you're looking almost straight down, and it's pretty scary. It's like 170 steps to the bottom if you want to go to the bottom of it. So we go back to these falls. We turn to go down the road, which is only supposed to be a half a mile hike into the falls. It's getting a little bit later, so we're like, all right, we know we can do this. And when we turn to go down the road's not plowed. But Google Maps says it's only a half a mile to the parking lot. So we decided we drove all the way out there. We're going for it.
Really?
And we were all the way there. It was only another half a mile. What? That's a mile in, a mile out. It's the last waterfall of the day. Like, we got this.
All right, and you have a Jamie, so that'll get you there.
Yep, and the 2 dogs. So I had the belt with the 2 dogs, and whenever it would get like treacherous and I knew they could pull me down, I would hand off the dogs to Jamie if it was icy or if we were on a downhill, because I don't want to get hurt. So, or we would each take 1 dog. And then whenever it was like uphill, I'm like, I will take both dogs. Thank you.
They could just tug you up the hill?
Yeah, they did. There were points in time where Jamie would grab the back of my belt as we were going uphill. So it would have a little bit of pull for him as well. And the dogs they just dug in and went. They loved it. People always ask me that, do your huskies pull? Oh, yeah. Because when you hike places like we do, you want that belt and you want those dogs to pull.
Yeah, see, if it were me, I would do the thing like, how like people take their cats outside or something and they just lay on the ground and you just drag them? I would be that. I would just let them pull me uphill and I would just go limp and just let them drag me up the hill. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, saving energy.
Right?
So you made it to the fall?
We did. We had to hike down this road, and a little ways into it, I kept looking at Jamie going, this doesn't feel like a road anymore. Like, I don't know if we're in the right spot. And of course, Google didn't work out there. So we're like, we'll just keep walking for a little bit longer. And then we finally came around the corner and we could see where the parking area was. Of course, it wasn't plowed or anything. But we're like, all right, cool. We're at the trailhead now. Well, now we got to go another half a mile all the way back to this waterfall. So we get all the way back to this waterfall. And you guys will see it in the vlogs. It's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. We're standing at the overlook, which, by the way, the snow is to the top of the fence barrier for the overlook. So it's not like you're standing next to the edge. You're literally standing on the edge. And I mean, I got to get the shot. So
right.
I I think I even vlogged it because I sat down and like crawled out there and made Jamie hold the dogs because I didn't want them to jerk forward where we were standing. I'm like, I don't want to fall here, and which wouldn't have happened, but in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to fall and then slip and have them be able to pull me towards Jamie. So you're stronger than me. You hold the dogs. I'll go risk my life for the vlog. Stupid.
No, it's not. You got the shot. One thing
I
that
did.
I'm trying to get a visual in my head. Since that one was really tall, was that also frozen?
It was partially frozen. So it was partially frozen at the top. There were a lot of like ice formations and like kind of like mini caves at the top of it, but the water was still very much running for that waterfall. The river looked frozen, but the waterfall was actually like running. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. I need to see like a fast forward stop motion time lapse of a waterfall freezing. Does it freeze from the top to the ground? Like if you were like Iceman, would you write it down? Does it freeze from the bottom up? Like who starts
Both.
the freeze?
It's like the stalactites and stalagmites when they meet.
Those I know. Okay. Oh, I never seen them meet. Oh, okay.
So you see what I'm saying? So like at the
Right.
bottom, it's more like the ones that come down from the ceiling. It's going to continuously freeze as it's coming down, but also as the water is hitting the ground, it's going to start freezing in more of like a hill as it goes up. The water is going to hit it.
Crazy
it's going to
because
go
the
down.
water is moving.
The water is moving. The water is definitely moving. So
Okay.
it's like partially frozen, but it is
That's-
definitely moving.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So
That is really
I
interesting.
went out to this edge, which the photos do not do this justice at all. Like I could show you, the photos will not do this justice. The video is the one that is going to do this justice. I go out to the edge and I get a couple shots over the edge where I can see. And then I'm like, I have to go down to the first overlook or I'm not going to be able to see the part of the waterfall I want to see. Mm-hmm. Well, the first overlook is at the bottom of 4 sets of steps that probably contain about 12 steps in each set. Mind you, there's feet of snow, which means there's no steps. There's just a slide.
Oh, see, that's cool. Because the worst thing that happens if you look down over the waterfall and you slip down it, it's just one big slip and slide to the ground, right?
Yeah, slip and slide 80 feet down to a bunch of rocks and sharp rocks and ice. And this was the one time where Jamie's like, nope, you're not doing it. And I'm like, I have the ice cleats. I'll go slow. And he's like, nope, you're not. He looked and he's like, no, you're not going. He goes, if you fall, again, where I was saying, the snow is all the way up to the top of the railings. So when you go down the first set of steps, there's no railing. If you fall, you are going to slide off the edge of it and down a lot of feet. A lot of feet.
Oh, I bet.
So he said no. And I said, I'll go really slow. And I have my ice cleats on. And I won't let go of the railing. And he's like, no. I'm like,
So negotiations are happening in real time while
Yes.
you're there.
yeah. I'm like, then you go down there. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving you up here. And I'm like, oh. So we kind of talked about it. And I went over to the steps and I'm like, I can do this. And he goes, all right. He's like, if I hear you yell, I'm letting them go and I'm coming for you. He's like, I'll tie them around this tree faster than anything. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's good. I'm like, okay. So I went down and it was slippery, but like I said, I had the ice cleats on, so it wasn't that bad. And I stepped on the edges of the stairs where other people had actually walked, so there kind of was steps. I didn't step in the middle, which was like glare ice. I made it down the first rung. I made it down the second one, and then the steps were underneath the other steps, so there was no snow there, which was great. So I made it all the way down, did my little shimmy, and crawled out to the edge.
Was there
And
anybody else there?
No, there was nobody out there. We ran into people on the way out. We ran into a family with 2 little kids that were taking their sled and going back. They're like their kids on a sled, and they were going back in there. I don't know what they were doing, but it's like glass, only it's ice, which means you're not stopping. You're going to slide right down it.
Oh, it's super slippery. Okay, in
Yeah.
Mario 64, they had that where like you couldn't
Yes.
stop. Okay,
Yes.
so you'd
That's
just be
exactly
like
what it's
doing
like.
the Running Man on the ice. Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
pretty
Okay,
much.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it all the way down and I shimmied over to the edge and I took a bunch of pictures and then I looked down and I went, oh, if I could get down there, I could get really cool pictures. And then there was ice caves on the other side.
I like your thinking.
Ice formations. And I'm like, oh, it's so flat over there. And I'm looking and I'm like, I can't get down there. I can't. There's no way. Because I'd had to jump over the edge, the barrier, which it was only about, it was only about maybe 8 feet down. But because the snow was so high on the steps, I would never have been able to get back up.
Right. That's like twice your height.
Yeah. So I kind of like had the vision of I should go down there, and then I'm like, no, that's stupid. And I kept yelling up to Jamie. I'm like, I'm okay. I made it right to where I was supposed to, and I'm coming back up. And I made it all the way back up. And I get all the way back up, and he goes, all right, let's go. Let's get out of here. I'm like, okay, we can go. He goes, I had it all figured out in my head how I was going to take my jacket off and tie it around this bench and then loop the dogs' harnesses around so that they couldn't back out of their harnesses and then tie their leashes to this bench. He goes, and I could have done it real fast so I could come down and save you if I needed to.
Oh my gosh. He had backup plans on how to airlift you out of there.
He's like, I couldn't just let the dogs go. He's like, but I know I couldn't take them down there if you actually needed me. So I had to figure out what I would do. And I'm like, well, I didn't fall, so we're good.
That is awesome. That is awesome. What else happened? What else was highlights there?
Oh my gosh. That was all Saturday stuff. Sunday stuff. On Monday, we decided, so the plan was on Sunday to like do all the stuff we wanted to do around Munising and then kind of chill out the rest of the day. I moderated your show and
oh yeah,
all
thanks.
that stuff.
Thanks for that.
That was the night before. That was the first night we got there. So the Sunday's plan was pretty much do all the things around Munising that we wanted to do. And then Monday's plan, I wanted to go to Marquette, Michigan. Marquette is a big city up there. Marquette has everything. They have a Best Buy, they have a Walmart, they have all the things that you need. It's the biggest city in the Upper Peninsula. Mm-hmm. So they have a PetSmart. We may or may not have taken Kira to PetSmart to go on her birthday shopping haul because we were at the PetSmart. So she got to do her birthday shopping haul, but she doesn't get any of the stuff till her birthday, but I had to film the video, so.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks for holding out on my toys.
Right? So we did that. There's a place in Marquette that we'd never been, and I want to say it was my friend Kevin Parsons, who I feel bad that I didn't tell him we were going to Marquette, because then he's like, you're right where I live. I'm like, I totally, like, I know that. I should have said something, because he's got a couple huskies. He rescued a husky from Harry Houdini Husky Rescue, one of the Manistee 28, I think it was, or Manistee 29. Anyway, I'm pretty sure he was the one that has asked me multiple times if we've ever gone to Sugarloaf Mountain in Marquette. Ooh. And I'm like, no, we never have. So this trip before we left, I looked it up, and I'm like, is this something we can do in the wintertime? And oh my gosh, the view from up there is, like, when I looked at the pictures, I'm like, we're doing this. We're going to go up this mountain. It says it's only a quarter of a mile. It's a quarter of a mile up the side of a mountain, stupid. Like, it's going to be hard and treacherous. And what was I thinking? I don't really know.
Well, I mean, it was called Sugarloaf, right?
Yeah.
I'd be so stoked. I'm like, the best pawn's going to be up at the top in this little house. I'm going to smell it halfway up, and it's going to get me up the mountain.
We started at the base of the mountain, and there's a little arrow, and it's like difficult trail, easy trail. And then we read on the thing, and it was like, the difficult trail only takes about 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes if you're conditioned to climbing, and I'm not.
If you're a robot.
Yeah. So the easy trail apparently is like a really gradual incline, and then at the end of it, you go up a whole bunch of steps. Well, I don't like steps. So we decided we would just, it was the first thing in the morning. We were feeling pretty good. I mean, I was sore from the day before, but I'm like, let's just do it. Let's take the difficult trail. We'll be fine. So we did. And the dogs pulled me quite a ways. You know, they were definitely helping pull me up the hill. It was really pretty. There was huge rocks and just the scenery. I kept stopping and taking pictures. I'm like, we got to take pictures of everything. So I took a lot of pictures there. And then we got almost all the way to the top where you could like see out. You could see the water of Lake Superior. And then there was steps. And then there was more steps. And then there was more steps.
Like
and
climbing the pyramids.
Oh my gosh. And it was 35 degrees outside. And by the time we went up like the fourth set of steps, I told Jamie, I'm like, you're either going to have to hold my coat or I'm just going to sit here until I'm not 90 million degrees anymore because I got overheated really quick. Again, I think we were a little bit overdressed. It was windy and colder that day. But once you start going up steps and you get warm. And I did. So we got up to one of the last round of steps, and I looked at Jamie, and I'm like, I'm done with the dogs. Like, yes, they're helping pull me up the steps, but we were on an edge, and I was freaking out. I'm like, this seems kind of scary, and you should take the dogs. So he took the dogs and went up the last few sections of steps, and then we got up to the top, and oh my gosh, the view was unreal. Like, I don't know why we've never been there in the fall. I can't even not imagine what it would look like in the fall. But even in the winter, there wasn't a whole lot of ice on Lake Superior because we haven't had the greatest winter. But the view from up there was so amazing. It was so cool.
What are you looking down at? Is it more trees? Is it water? Is it the subway? Like, what is it?
Not the subway. Lots of trees, lots of water. You can see Munising. You can see Marquette from up there. You can see the dome from Northern Michigan University. You can see all that from up there. So you can pretty much see the city, but it's a lot of woods and trees and more hills and more little, like, you can see where all these like little mountains pop up. And I don't know if they're actually mountains. I don't know what constitutes a mountain over a hill. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm not a terrarium.
I'm not a rockologist.
I'm not a rockologist.
I'm not a terrainologist. So I don't really know. I looked it up once, but I believe Sugarloaf is actually considered a mountain. But the other things we were looking at, I think Mount Arvon was one of the other ones we could see, and I think that's actually considered a mountain up there as well. But it's not like mountains by you. But you could see all of that stuff, and you could see the lake, and you could see Black Rocks from up there. Like, it was so crazy cool. I did like a 360 photo on my phone just for fun, which would have turned out better if the dogs hadn't been attached to me. And at one point in time, Memphis pulled towards Jamie, and I'm like, no, I'm not taking this all over again. We're just going to put it together like this.
Okay, so that's where that came from, that 360 photo.
Yes, it was from my phone. I have a 360 sphere option where like you take a picture and then you turn and it takes a picture and you turn and you take it. And you can either do like a just looking all around, or you can do a full 360 thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on my phone. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I can see what you're talking about. Oh yeah, that looks awesome up there. And there's like little there's like some like wood railings and stuff so you guys don't fall off.
Yeah, well, except the snow is tall enough to where you could just fall off anyway.
Yeah, I'm spinning around in my chair here, 360, and looking at all around. Oh, there's Jamie. Hi. Oh, he can't hear me. There's your jacket from where you got too hot.
Yep. Yeah, I did not have my coat on when we got up there. And then we're standing up there, and the wind started to pick up. And Jamie had his hood up at one point in time, and he's like, sure you don't want your coat? I'm like, not till I'm not hot anymore. So we stayed up there for quite a while. I got a couple of really cute pictures of the dogs on top of the hill, which was fun. And then we had to go down because, you know, when you go up, you got to come down.
Right. And real quick before you go on with the story, hey, if you guys are looking at this 360 picture, make sure you look all the way down and you only see Memphis butt. There is only a half a dog butt from like the waist down, and it's kind of creepy. So make sure you look all the way down if you're looking at this 360 photo and see what Memphis looks like if she was split in two, like it was a magic trick.
It'll be posted on the Snow Dogs Vlogs Facebook page, so you guys can actually experience it.
That's so funny. All right, go ahead. Yeah. So you're going back down.
Yeah, so we had to go back down, and the steps were icy. Again, we had our yak tracks on, but the steps were icy. They were not like, they were straight up and down steps, not really straight up and down, but they felt like it. So I looked at Jamie and I went, I can't walk these dogs back down this hill. Like, maybe one. I could take Memphis. Memphis knows slow and whoa. I can walk Memphis down the steps and tell her those two things, and she will take one step at a time. But when there's ice and she's sliding, I don't know that she would be able to do that as well because she's not as sure-footed. So I handed the dogs and the belt to Jamie, and he started down these steps. I ended up going in front of him, which I don't know what I wouldn't have been able to stop him if he fell, but I went in front of him, and he had two hands on the railing. One hand, move a hand, move a hand, move a hand, all the way down the railing, and the dogs just kept going. And then we did that all the way down. We got to the really sketchy part where you come down to the bottom of the steps, and like if you take 3 more steps, you're going off the edge. I don't know why they put the steps there. That was scary. And then you turn, and there's like a little edge that you walk on for a little ways, and then it's kind of not as scary anymore. And then there's a few more steps, but then it's treacherous downhill. Like, it's not like you get to the bottom of the steps and you're okay. It's treacherous downhill. So I told Jamie, I'm like, you just keep the dogs and get them all the way down this hill because I don't want to fall.
Right, and I get it. You have like 2 steps out of your front door of your house, and I slipped down those, so
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Yeah, it can be very scary, and because it had been so warm and ended up getting warm again that day and the sun was out, it wasn't like the snow was just slippery, it was also slushy. So everything wasn't a sure-footed step. You'd step and the snow would shift. So your foot kind of slipped a little bit, or if they pulled just a little bit too hard, it just became a situation that could have turned bad. So Jamie walked the dogs down off of the mountain, which was really nice that I didn't have to try to do that.
Good. You guys make a good team.
Yeah, it was super fun. And then we ate at my favorite restaurant in Marquette. We ate at To-Go's. The name of the restaurant is To Go or Togo's, but I call it To Go because it's funny.
What's that place?
It's a sandwich shop. It's been in business in Marquette for like 50 years or something. You know me, I like sandwiches. It's an amazing sandwich shop in Marquette, Michigan. And every time we go there, I'm like, can we please eat there? I don't care. I just want to eat there. And I always get the same thing. Jamie's tried a bunch of different things, but I always get the club with a bunch of random stuff on it. And Jamie always gets the number 16. Number 16, add hot peppers, toasted and grilled, which isn't Italian, but they add like spicy peppers to it.
That's funny. That kind of reminds me of anytime anybody's like, I'll pick up some food. What do you want? I'm like, I don't care where you go. Just wherever you go, pick me up a supersized number 1. Like, I'll take the 16, please. But sir, our menu only goes up to 15. He's like, let me speak to your manager.
Right. Make it up as you go. Yeah, so we went to lunch. The dogs got a turkey sandwich with cheese on it to have for their lunch because I always try to spoil them at least once while we're traveling. And it was so cute. When I told the people inside it was for the dogs, they cut it up into little pieces for me.
Oh my gosh, you know what? That's the secret. So now everywhere I go, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'd like a taco supreme. It's for a dog, and maybe they'll like cut it up for me.
Yeah, maybe.
Man.
Into little pieces.
Pro tips from you. Like, I learned a lot.
Yeah. Pretty much from there, we did the PetSmart run, and then, we were pretty exhausted from the day before, and the mountain climb up and down was pretty exhausting. So pretty much from there, we drove back to the hotel and decided to just chill out the rest of the night. I think we got back, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock. So about dinner time, we got back to the hotel, and we just chilled out the rest of the night, packed up stuff to get ready to come home today, and then we came home and we podcasted.
Yeah, you described all this stuff, and that's a week's worth of stuff that you crammed just into those couple days. And not to mention, like, what time did you go to bed on Saturday night after the live stream ended? Like, that was like the next day already for you.
Yeah, it was like 2 o'clock, I think.
In the morning?
Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning by the time I went to bed on Saturday night, which would have been early Sunday morning. And then we were up and going, I don't know, like 10 o'clock on Sunday. Not super early. I had to get up early enough to get free breakfast from the hotel.
Oh, yeah, you can't miss the continental breakfast. The one hotel that we stayed at that one time, they had some bomb breakfast. Remember we had Egg McMuffins and stuff?
Yeah, this was a lot like that, only without the breakfast sandwiches. But they had like mini donuts and mini muffins and French toast and the pancake flipper thing. And you could get cereal or eggs. And so the secret is you go there and you load up a plate with like mini muffins and donuts, and then you go put them in your mini fridge, so later when you're hungry you have mini donuts.
Dang, traveling tips from Jess.
I don't usually actually eat breakfast, so that's usually what I do. I'll go down to the continental breakfast, and if they have like mini muffins or like sometimes they have like little mini donuts or something, I usually grab like two of each, and then I put them in the fridge and we eat them later. It's like I didn't really eat breakfast anyway, so I'll just eat it later.
Yeah. Well, sounds like you had a great time.
Yeah, we did. It was super fun. Like, I'm sore today because I did slip on the ice after doing all that walking. I pulled a muscle in my upper part of my leg. And then this morning, as we were getting up, Memphis decided to jump on the bed and step on it. So I feel like I'm going to have this massive bruise now. But I think that's the only injury that we had was that.
That's the worst place to get an injury. You know what? You need to make up another story for that. I'd be like, I was on the trail and I slid down this icicle and it shanked me.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. I just pulled a muscle, slipping on the ice, and then Memphis decided to step on it to just, oh, you think that hurts? Hold on, let me step on it. Thanks, Memphis.
What an awesome adventure.
Yeah, other than that, I think everything went really good. The first day we were there, I found a penny at the gas station that was on head, so I'm like, that's the sign. We're going to have a great weekend. And we did, till we got home, and now my Jeep's broke, so...
Oh, look how simple you are. I love it. I saw a penny. It was face up, and all the day I have good luck. Oh,
yeah, and I did!
That's right. When we'll end this on a cliffhanger. So you get back and you're like, my Jeep blew up. It's like on fire. And I'm like, what happened?
Blow. That's not what happened.
Close.
I don't know what happened. I don't have an answer to what happened. All I know is it made a real loud clunking noise, and I don't know what it is, but I'm not driving it, and it's going into the shop on Thursday. So to be continued next week, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Even I'm curious to see what's wrong, because every time you go on some sort of trip, your poor Jeep comes back and it's worse for wear. And when you came out here to see me, like the front of it was all messed up. Didn't they paint the whole thing last time?
Yeah. That was we had the whole front of it got painted. The whole Jeep got painted because we hit the freezer door, and then we hit that sandstorm, and it pitted up my windshield and all the paint, and it was great.
Well, I hope your Jeep
But we
goes
didn't
okay.
hit anything this time. I don't even know what happened. I was on the way back from the deli, and all of a sudden the Jeep started making this weird clunking noise, and I called Jamie, and I'm like, what do I do? And he goes, where are you? I'm like, 2 blocks away. He goes, just drive it home. I'm like, okay. I came inside, and he's going, I don't hear it. I'm like, get in it and start it. And as soon as he started it, it went clunk, clunk. He looked at me, and I went, I don't know what it is either.
Well, good thing to happen now and not like when you guys were like a half a mile out and, or next to the Snowmageddon.
I know, we said the same thing. I'm like, but we could have been trapped up north.
Ooh, you say that kind of like enthusiastic.
We could have been trapped up north. I wouldn't have minded being trapped up north. Oh, well, we're trapped up north. Oh, darn. I mean, there's a Jeep dealership in Marquette, and I have towing, so I could have had it towed to Marquette and got a loaner.
Right. I always thought it'd be cool to be towed and just be in your Jeep still and just kind of like be Ubered off the back.
Yeah, I don't think they let you do that.
They should have an Uber service like that where like, I don't want to drive home, but I'll drive to the event. And then like I get towed home.
Might work.
That would be the original idea for Lyft. It's like, here, like I'll put you on the back of our flatbed and you just stay in the car. Go ahead, stay in the Jeep. And then you're not drinking and you're not driving. Like you can drink and you can just chill in there and go to sleep. And then I'll drop you off in your front yard.
In theory, that could work.
Well, good trip, Jess. You have another one planned for this weekend?
I have no idea what's going on this weekend.
I'm glad you went when you did though, because you were concerned about pushing it a week.
Yeah, the weather is supposed to change, and it's supposed to get really cold and snowy. So we literally, like, when you guys watch the videos, we got it was perfect timing, the perfect weather. I don't know how we did that, but it was perfect. It was our Valentine's Day vacation, so it was perfect. It really was. I mean, and it was so crazy. Like everything went. I'm telling you, it was the penny. Everything went right.
That's
everything.
Awesome.
We didn't have any issues with the hotel. We didn't have any issues with the food. The dogs all did amazing. Like everything just fell right into place. And even as we were on the way home, I'm like, this is like the greatest vacation we've had in a while, because everything just worked. The internet worked when we needed it. Like Jamie was able to play World of Warcraft
That's what I was
night.
wondering. You sent me a picture when you guys are in there and you're like, he's hanging out with Greg. I'm like, in that Wi-Fi, like hotel Wi-Fi sucks notoriously.
Yeah, it was great. I uploaded videos. Like I had
the
first night I had issues. I was trying to upload the one vlog and I had issues, but then the next day I was able to upload. So, because I had a video ready for Monday, but I couldn't, the upload speed just would not cooperate. It kept saying it was going to take like 7 hours, and I'm like, whatever, I'll try it again tomorrow. So I put up the notice and I'm like, we're on vacation. I don't know what to tell you. And then the next morning it worked. So,
well, good. All right, so I'm about to say the most things that I've said all podcast right now. That'll do it for this week's episode of the CC Mouse Podcast. You can listen to us every Wednesday on your favorite music app. Interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check out our merch at ccmousepodcast.shop. Who will be the first one to get the Pod Squad shirt? I'm waiting to see who tags me in that one. So we'll see you guys next week. Same mouse time, same mouse podcast. Bye.
bye. We did a thing.
You did a thing.